RFK Jr. is not who you think he is. Stormy Daniels testifies in the Trump trial, and we're going to do some TikTok reactions and more today on Speechless. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Speechless. No matter where you're watching from, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, comment what you think, share it with your friends, all that fun stuff. I'm your host, Kev Ferris, 23-year-old conservative activist. If you're looking for the Breakaway USA show that is usually on Thursday nights, do not worry. We will be back next week, Monday and Thursday. We had some different scheduling conflicts, but I am still here right for you guys to bring you guys some breaking news of the week. And as always, we go pretty quick with this show. And I don't want to forget, as I said earlier, please like this video no matter where you're watching from. Check out myself and Breakaway USA all over the place. All you got to do is go look up Breakaway USA, subscribe to us, comment. I will be getting to comments today so I can hear what you guys have to say about all this stuff and share this with your friends. If you're on Twitter right now, make sure X is what Elon calls it. Retweet it right now, reshare. I'd appreciate it. But let's get into this first story here. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. making a lot of different waves. We see here, and I do have producer Cody here today. Yes, thank you. Scroll a little bit. You're doing a great job. We've got producer Cody working with me a little bit. But RFK Jr. claimed in a years-old deposition that doctors told him a parasitic worm had eaten part of his brain before dying in his skull. According to a Tuesday report from the New York Times, Kennedy made the claim during a deposition that took place as a part of his 2012 divorce proceedings. He had been experiencing cognitive problems and feared he had been suffering from a brain tumor. RFK was scheduled to undergo surgery at Duke University Medical Center in North Carolina when he got a second opinion. The doctor stated that the shadow inside his brain on scans was in fact a dead parasite, likely a pork tapeworm larva. According to a transcription of the interview, Kennedy stated that his condition was caused by a worm that got into my brain and ate a portion of it and then died, according to the Times. Now, that poor worm is what I have to say. I'd hate to be stuck inside of a politician's brain. What a very empty place to be. But all jokes aside, that's not the first time a Kennedy has had a hole in his brain. Of course, we know back in the day. And as you're sitting at home, probably cringing at that joke, don't worry. There's a lot of bigger jokers on the internet, and that's The View. The View had a lot to say about this. And in fact, as they always do, they bring it back to Trump. It's all Trump's fault. Let's take a look and listen to this clip from The View, where they let Kennedy talk about it, but then they also bring in more. Let's play this.
Parasites are very common in India, where I had done a lot of environmental work, and it comes from eating undercooked pork.
So you've made a full recovery. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Really? But he insists he's still up for the gig, and even tweeted, and I don't know why, that he could eat 5 more worms and still beat you-know-who and Biden in a debate.
Well, now we know the reason for his irrational behavior, but what is Trump's excuse? Does he also have a worm in his brain? We know he suffers from narcolepsy. He's always falling asleep.
Right, but listen, it's crazy. I mean, he had a worm that died in his brain and I guess atrophied and is now part of his brain matter.
Part of his brain. To make fun of the other two candidates, Biden and Trump, yes, he's not exactly Arnold Schwarzenegger. And now we know that he has these ailments. He had other stuff years ago.
Somehow it always comes back to Trump, right? It always comes back to Trump with those View ladies, probably some of the dumbest people I have ever seen. And I got to be honest with you, I need Whoopi Goldberg's opinion about as much as I need a hole in the brain, even though RFK Jr. already has one of those. But it honestly makes a lot of sense when you really think about it. Look, I don't want to make, well, I already have, but I don't want to necessarily harp too much and hate on the guy, kick him while he's down. But he seems to be coming out with a lot of mistaken, changing, not great opinions. And this is just another example of that. Just today, it was released that podcaster and former ESPN host Sage Steele, when she interviewed, she began asking Kennedy on the Sage Steele show, she said, should there be a limit? Or are you saying all the way up to full term, a woman has a right to have an abortion? That's what she started by asking, and here is what RFK Jr. had to say.
But so to leave, so in other words, keeping it as is with Roe versus Wade having been overturned and leaving it up to the states to determine if and when a woman can have an abortion?
No, I wouldn't leave it to the states.
You wouldn't, right?
No, I would.
You would say completely. It's up to the woman.
My belief is we should leave it to the woman. We shouldn't have government involved,
even if it's full term.
Even if it's full term.
Even if it's full term. You know, I wouldn't usually be surprised by an answer like this. Look, part of me isn't. But what I am a little frustrated with is that there's a lot of people out there, a lot of especially Trump supporters, who come out and they say, oh my gosh, Kennedy is my guy. Just several months ago, about a year ago, they hear, oh my gosh, he is vaccine skeptical, anti-vax. We love him. He's a conspiracy theorist, just like me. And the whole time I said, you know, just because he agrees with you on one issue does not mean he's your savior, everybody. At the end of the day, he's still a Kennedy. He's still a Democrat. So be worrisome. Like, be weary. He's not a conservative by any means. A lot of people were touting, oh my gosh, he should be the VP for Trump. No. A lot of people fall into this Machiavellian idea that he should be, that the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And because he's running against Joe Biden, because he agrees with me on some issues, he must be some level of a savior. Don't ever think that idea of a politician. A politician is never there to save you. He's always there to save himself. Not to mention the fact that he's just a straight up liar. If you look at this NBC article from 9 months ago, pun not intended, but it's still there. RFK Jr. says he would sign a federal abortion ban at 3 months of pregnancy, then reverses course. So back about 9 months ago, MSNBC reported that he was more than happy to sign a 3-month abortion ban, a ban after 3 months. So after the first trimester. So be weary with who you're throwing support behind, and truly understand what their opinion is. And here's the thing is what this really tells me overall. We can just, producer Cody, let's put this in the corner from now. We don't need to watch the video. What this really tells me though with Kennedy is that, and with what's coming up in this election, is how important the idea of abortion is on the ballot, or at least how much pollsters and politicos believe abortion is on the ballot. Now, that doesn't necessarily surprise me. It's just something to be wary of, because what is going on right now is all of the media is going to try to spin your opinion on abortion to fit what they want, to fit not even what they want, who invests the most, whose pockets are they in. That is who the media is going to try to sway you towards in terms of abortion. And right now it seems that so much of the media is controlled significantly by the pro-choice agenda. And that's what you see whenever they talk about how, oh my gosh, it's so awful Roe was overturned and Trump's so terrible because he was responsible for overturning Roe. That is what's going on. And so why is Kennedy coming out? Because Kennedy doesn't care about a 3-month abortion ban. Kennedy doesn't care about abortion at full term. What Kennedy cares about is Kennedy. And so he's going to go, he's honestly a true Kennedy Democrat. He will go whichever way the wind blows to help him get as much of the vote, as much of the money as humanly possible. And that is what we see. But maybe I'm totally crazy. Maybe I'm an idiot. I always say that as a qualifier for whatever I say. So let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like this video wherever you guys are watching from. Subscribe to the channel. Comment what you think. Share it with your friends. All that fun stuff. I got a bunch of other stories to talk about today, and I'm so excited to bring them to you. Up next soon, we're going to be talking about Stormy Daniels. We're going to be talking about some teachers that are just absolutely insane. And groomers, but groomers, some even in a way that you might not have even known. We're going to talk about the Boy Scouts, of course, and then we're going to do some TikTok reactions, all that fun stuff coming up soon. But real quick, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor. And so here is some Freedom 2.0 for you. first, I'm always going to shout out Freedom 2.0. Freedom 2.0 is on the cutting edge of supporting conservatives, everybody. If you want to make sure that you're not supporting like Coca-Cola by drinking Dasani or Aquafina or any of that kind of crap, and you want to drink something that has meaning, something that's owned by people who love Christ, who love what you love, then go get yourself some Freedom 2.0 right now. All you got to do is go to freedom20.com/USA or use code breakaway at checkout for 15% off. Not only is it great tasting water, it also supports what you do. And so water for deplorables. If you're a deplorable like me, go get some of your own Freedom 2.0, and it just fell off my desk. So that'll be fun to pick up the next time that I get a video on screen. But let's get on into the next story. Everybody, you might know of a certain someone. She's coming up on screen right next to me. She's a porn star, somebody who I hope one day may or may not. Well, I do hope that she finds Christ, but the chances of her doing that are minimal. But Stormy Daniels just earlier this week gave a disastrous testimony in a Trump trial, according to a CNN legal analyst. CNN legal analyst is out of the Daily Wire. Eli, I think is what his name is, Honig, said adult film actress. I always love when people say that. Adult film actress, smut movie woman Stormy Daniels gave disastrous responses during her appearance on Tuesday at former President Donald Trump's New York City hush money trial. Cody, I know I do have a video for this that should be linked there, and I have a timestamp of when I want it pulled up. So let's get that prep too. But during a segment on CNN with other legal experts, Honig offered his take on the testimony, which included Stormy Daniels discussing her alleged 2006 hotel tryst with Trump that the former president was denied, while he contended that Stormy was believable when it came to the sex claim. Honig argued the cross-examination could spell trouble for prosecutors. She talked about things like spankings and sexual exploits between her and Donald Trump. But the cross-exam, her responses were disastrous. Do you hate Donald Trump? Yes, of course she does. That's a big deal. But let's talk about a little bit about what Honig has to say actually in this video. I believe it's around did I get the right 4 minutes and 23 seconds is when we should start this? Please and thank you. Let's do that.
Guys,
there might be a little bit of an ad there. We can take that. Don't worry, everybody. We will bring it right back. Here we go.
On his own, object at one point.
Physicality. My impression was she was plausible on her explanation of what happened in that hotel room. It's hard for me to believe that a juror heard that and thought this is entirely made up. There may well be some embellishments, with Arthur, I think, pointed out effectively in the last hour, but I think it's quite clear they had sex in 2006 in that hotel room. But the cross-exam, boy, her responses were disastrous. I mean, do you hate Donald Trump? Yes, of course she does. That's a big deal. When the witness hates the person whose liberty is at stake, that's a big damn deal. And she's putting out tweets, fantasizing about him being in jail. That really undermines the credibility. The fact that she owes him $500,000, she, by order of a court, owes Donald Trump $500,000 and said, I will never pay him. I will defy a court order. The defense is going to say she's willing to defy a court order. Why? She's not willing to respect an order of a judge. Why is she going to respect this oath she took? So I thought it went quite poorly on cross-exam. At the end of direct, I thought, okay, they got what they needed, but I think the cross is making real inroads.
Can I ask?
All right, let's pause that there. Thank you, producer Cody. So, and this is the case that's brought by Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, in which Trump faces 34 felony counts of falsifying business records to allegedly cover up payments, including to Daniels, in a bid to conceal damaging information as a part of catch and kill scheme to influence the 2016 election. And he's pleaded not guilty. And here's exactly what that guy said that's very true, is they might believe that Trump had these sexual exploits, but that's not what he's on trial for. And so while the mainstream media will talk about spanking and all this other stuff, and we're going to get to some more about what the mainstream media has to say, it's not about that. You have a witness here that's supposed to be testifying regarding the hush money, and instead she is talking about, or she's more than willing to discuss how much she hates Trump and make jokes on the stand. This is supposed to be the star witness for Alvin Bragg. And yet this is how she's performing. What video do we have on screen? We have Trump coming out of that trial. Yes, let's watch this. So Trump is under gag order. He's been talking very minimally. He'll talk about the gag order in this, but this is how Trump had to respond to his day today, which is the second day of Stormy in court. Let's take a look at this.
Thank you very much. Everybody saw what happened today. I don't think we have to do any explaining. I'm not allowed to anyway, because this judge is corrupt. He's a corrupt judge. This judge, what he did and what his ruling was is a disgrace. Everybody saw what happened today. He's a corrupt judge and he's totally conflicted. And I got to get back on the campaign trail. I'm not supposed to be here. We are so innocent. There's never been anything like it. Read every single analyst, legal analyst. I'm innocent, and I'm being held in this court with a corrupt judge who's totally conflicted. Take a look at his conflict. It's a disgrace to the city of New York, to the state of New York, and to the country. Thank you very much.
So he doesn't even talk about Stormy at all. Once again, he's under gag order, but that kind of says something in and of itself. When it comes to Trump, he's not allowed to talk about Stormy. Stormy is allowed to talk about him. She's allowed to tweet about him. She's allowed to say whatever the heck she wants to the world. Why is it that Trump isn't allowed to talk? The reason why Trump is not allowed to talk, the reason why he is under this gag order is because this is political persecution. What they noticed, the left, is that Donald Trump, when he's able to speak his mind, especially back in 2016, and he's not being held down by COVID, he's not being held down by the George Floyd riots or anything. He's not being held down by anything else, and he's able to, when he's able to run on his own, and he's allowed to speak to the people, speak to the people directly. It's that Freedom 2.0. It's amazing. I just keep drinking so much of it. But when he's able to speak to the people on his own, untethered, unhinged, not currently dealing with the stressors of being the president of the United States, that is when he is at his absolute best. That's when he controls the media narrative surrounding him, and that's when he wins. They don't want to allow him to do that this time around. So not only do they indict him unjustly, constantly, in every possible manner, no, they also will, through a weaponized justice system, they will make it so that he is not allowed to talk, period, at all, whatsoever. And if he does, then he will face legal consequence. This is attack. Everybody will say it's an attack on our Constitution. It absolutely is in terms of the First Amendment. But the First Amendment has been under attack for a very, very long time. That's not anything new. What this is an attack on is the last branch of our federal government, our justice system, that we should be able to trust. And we absolutely can't. Not anymore. People often like to talk about whether or not Rome is falling. Rome is absolutely falling. The United States is falling. And it's not saying something that's falling can be caught. It can be brought back up. It's not forever lost. But we got a lot of work to do to get there. And another institution in America that's absolutely falling, and it's proven by the Stormy Daniels trial, is our American media. And of course, we've known that for a long time too. The saving grace that we really have is the ability for us all to be able to communicate via social media. And while that's incredibly destructive in its own right, we are able to still communicate. And that's where I was able to find this clip of the mainstream media being absolutely idiotic in terms of the Stormy trial. Take a look and a listen to what MSDNC had to say regarding the absolute disastrous testimony that we see here.
Viewers all the time, Chris and Andrea, I sat through 2 E. Jean Carroll trials and 2 cross-examinations of E. Jean Carroll, and I have to tell you, I agree with Sue wholeheartedly. This was very much what I'd call a nuts and sluts defense. There was a portion of the cross-examination where Susan Neckles was focused on the fact that Stormy Daniels now claims that she is a medium and that she communicates with dead people and has participated in a TV series about the paranormal, where she explores things, including the fact that at one point an ex-boyfriend of hers was inhabited by spirits. She was mocking Stormy Daniels. She wants the jury to think Stormy Daniels is a liar and she is crazy. And she also wants the jurors to judge her for her occupation. And Stormy Daniels gave no ground on that. As Sue just said, she might be an exotic dancer, an adult film actor, but she was very clear. When Susan Neckles used the phrase selling yourself to describe what Stormy Daniels was doing on a tour where she was making appearances at clubs, Stormy Daniels set her straight. I was not selling myself. I was dancing. The implication always was, I am not a sex worker, and I don't have a sign around my neck that says consent given freely to everyone at any time.
Right.
She was a woman who seemed pretty self-possessed, in control of her own body, and wanting to maintain, essentially, to quote Pretty Woman, I say who, I say when, and not, you know, Donald Trump was mine, that I was for the taking by this man. I increasingly see what Trump did to Stormy Daniels, and she used the phrase, what happened to me, more insidiously than I think I ever have. It is a reinforcement of the predator frame that the Access Hollywood tape introduced. It brought into full vision a very new Donald Trump, not just a Donald Trump who was womanizing and liked beautiful women and was one of the world's most eligible bachelors, as David Pecker described him, but a Trump who knew what he was doing and wasn't just hitting on people, but making it impossible for them to escape, or at least downright uncomfortable. And Stormy Daniels today, I agree with Sue, the temperature was down, but the self-possession was up, and she would not give ground. My favorite answer that she gave was when Susan Neckles basically said to her, you make things up like this all the time. You've acted in over 200 pornographic movies, and those are all made up. And she said, if I was going to make this up, I would have made it a much better story. And I don't know how people in the courtroom reacted, but in the overflow room, there was like a, ooh, like almost like sick burn, because Stormy Daniels was in control.
Oh my God. So MSDNC, let's put that like that picture right there in the corner too, if we can, while I talk about this. MSDNC is out here talking, and they're like fawning over Stormy Daniels. And if you were to watch just that clip, here's the important thing to notice. If you were to watch just that clip, you would believe in your head that, and you didn't know anything else. You just knew like kind of the general gist. You were like, oh, I know Stormy Daniels. I know that she might have done something with Trump, like blah, blah, blah. You would have thought that this trial had something to do with Trump and Stormy's sexual relationship. It has nothing to do with Trump and Stormy's sexual relationship. It had every potential sexual relationship. It's not even confirmed. It had everything to do with money. But if you listen to quotes and things that this deranged MSNBC analyst said, she calls it the nuts and sluts defense. She claims that Stormy, that she's a medium who communicates with dead people and even had a possessed ex-boyfriend. And then she goes on this tirade about sex work and your hashtag girl boss crap. Like Stormy might be an exotic dancer, but it was very clear that so like, as if like, oh, well, she might be these things that people have a genuine or a general negative feeling towards, but she's still so clear and she's so smart. She gave no ground. She was a hashtag girl boss. She was a woman who felt pretty self-possessed, in control of her own body. My favorite answer she gave, that's another thing, this MSDNC, MSNBC, whatever the hell you want to call it. She says, my favorite answer that she gave, your job as an analyst is to analyze. And an analysis is not to give a biased opinion. An analysis would be, I believe her best answer was blank, not my favorite answer she gave. This just shows you the absolute bias that these people have, and that it is not about what the actual trial is about. This is not about talking and saying, hey, let's see how well did, like CNN, I will give them credit in this instance. The clip I played earlier, they had an analyst on that was like, here was the good parts, here was the bad parts, and this is kind of how I see it going, based on the good parts and the bad parts. This woman comes on and she just basically, like, pun absolutely intended, pornographically sucks off Stormy Daniels for like the whole 2.5 minutes, however long that clip was. It's absolutely absurd, but that is the state of our mainstream media. And what they're trying to do, it's predatory. What they're trying to do is control your brain. They don't want at all. They don't want you to actually know what Trump is on trial for, because what he's on trial for is relatively boring. It's about, oh, maybe he lied, maybe he didn't. It's about money. It's about blah, blah, blah. No. But they want you to believe that it's in some way about his sexcapades, because that draws your eye, it draws your mind, and it brainwashes you. And that's what the mainstream media wants. They don't want you educated. They want you thinking what they want you thinking. And that's exactly what MSDNC did right here. And that's what they're doing with this Stormy Daniels case. And it's absolutely fascinating to me. We're going to go on to some other stories here soon, but let me know what you guys think about that in the comments. Am I totally wrong about the Stormy Daniels case? Is it actually much more about sex than I thought? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Blow those up. Let me know. I'm really curious what you guys think, because it's just absolutely absurd. It's just another instance of how the world is crumbling before our very eyes. It's absolutely crumbling. It is. And I got some other stories to cover here, but I want to make sure that I give another big shout out to my most favorite sponsor in the world that does not use fluoride in their product. It's Freedom 2.0. Let's take a look at this ad. I know it might not be your favorite ad. It's not necessarily my favorite ad, but I love Freedom 2.0 and they do amazing work. Here's this.
Blah, 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 blah. What are you talking about? Here, have some Freedom 2.0. Man, the Constitution is awesome. Type 1A.
Freedom 2.0 is awesome. I gave them a lot of shout outs earlier, and I want you guys, if you missed even a minute of this, don't forget you can go back and watch all about how RFK Jr. is an absolute fraud. He is a fraud. He's not a conservative. He's not your friend. He's a fraud. And honestly, he's probably less honest than Joe Biden. But you want to know who is honest? It's Freedom 2.0. They support creators like me. They support a lot of great people, a lot of creators that are bigger than me too. And so I love them. So you guys should go check out Freedom 2.0. But I got some other stories to talk about here. We're going to talk about, so I talked in that last segment about how the media is grooming you to hate Trump in whatever way they possibly can. But there's a lot of people that are grooming a lot of people. And we all know that the gays tend to be grooming our children. And here's a perfect example of that out of my home state where I am right now, Illinois. Teachers put through coaching sessions on gender and sexuality at a woke Illinois math academy. So someplace where they're supposed to be focusing on like smart people crap, like math. Yeah, no, instead they're talking about gender and sexuality. A woke Illinois math and science boarding academy makes teachers meet with a quote equity coach over the lack of inclusion and incorrect pronoun usage, according to emails obtained by the Daily Wire. This is all out of the Daily Wire. Teachers at the Illinois Math and Science Academy, which is called IMSA locally, which is a public boarding school in Aurora for grades 10 through 12, are told to meet with an equity instruction coach if they are found to have violated school DEI policies, according to emails obtained by Parents Defending Education, PDE, and shared with the Daily Wire. Before we get a little bit further into this story, I will share a personal anecdote real quick. I've been to IMSA more than once. When I was in middle school, I was a part of the Mathletes. That's not what we were actually called, but that's what I called it colloquially, because that's essentially what it was. It was like a math club. And I was a part of this math club for the specific purpose that I could go to IMSA on a field trip and miss a day of school at least once a year from 6th through 8th grade. So I've been to IMSA a few times because we had a little like math competition thing. I was never very good at math, but I was a part of it. And I've been to IMSA. And I can tell you back when I went there, they weren't focusing on this gay crap, but apparently they are now. But let's continue. The emails show a school culture where teachers are expected to undergo a plethora of DEI-related trainings and an extensive process for faculty and community members to report alleged instances of bias. In one instance, a teacher was ordered to undergo a coaching session with the equity coach over pronoun use. It has been determined that there is no evidence of bias, but rather a lack of inclusion. IMSA's DEI officer, Adrian Coleman, wrote to the teacher in September 23. And of course, a DEI officer is a BS position made up so that somebody could just collect a paycheck and not actually do any work. She said, quote, or he or she said, quote, in this instance, While you were proactive in collecting students' names and pronouns, IMSA students still felt uncomfortable and unsafe due to incorrect pronoun usage. Oh, incorrect pronoun usage. Go after yourself. The teacher was then told to prepare to engage in a coaching session around gender and sexuality, as well as appropriate use of pronouns with an equity instructional coach. This is what our educators are focused on, is equity instructional coaches. And they have to be worried about correct pronoun usage rather than, I don't know, actually just like teaching at the Illinois Math and Science Academy. We're focusing on pronouns at the Illinois Math and Science Academy. What is this? What is this? That's an anti-science. The entire idea of the pronouns crap is in and of itself anti-science. This is what we're teaching there? Other emails obtained by PDE show a number of supposed biased incidents being investigated, including an allegation from the school's equity coach, which is another stupid thing. This would come from, like, you probably don't have a football coach there, so you have to have a flipping equity coach for all your mathletes, against a member of a committee reevaluating school policies through an equity lens, according to PDE. The school's equity coach said that the incident made him question how the committee was selected, suggesting that white males and Christians shouldn't be involved. Well, while I'd usually complain about it saying that white males and Christians shouldn't be involved, for once, I don't think I'd want to be in any of this. Be discriminatory. Be discriminatory, because I don't want any part of this. The equity coach said the incident has made me question how individuals were chosen for the committee, considering the purpose of the work and how policies are inherently geared towards privileged individuals. And then it lists the privileged individuals: white, straight, cis, able-bodied men who are middle class and Christian. I love how it says who are middle class. That's the thing. Men who are middle class. The weird thing to me about that, men who are middle class. So the upper class ones are not the privileged ones. It's just the middle class. Interesting. And in reviewing for equity should be evaluated by those who are not privileged. Then we go down, we see all these different questions that are asked in here. Types of racial or incident report. Please indicate the type of bias below. It's absolute crap. But this is what's happening. So IMSA, go all the way back to the top show, producer Cody. We can just show like the headline. So everybody, if you're just tuning in, you can see what I'm talking about here a little bit. This is IMSA. This is considered to be like the high school equivalent of MIT. Like your very, very smart people that are in STEM, your science, math, some tech. Like that's where your smart people are supposed to go. And what they're learning about, or what's valued to them, what they're focusing on, is if you're using the right pronouns. Our education system right now is by no means about educating. Our education system right now is getting so held up on how we talk about things and what we talk about that we never actually get into the heart of basic content. The Illinois Math and Science Academy might as well be IDEI, Illinois Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Academy, IDEIA, IDEIA. That's what it should be. Because it doesn't even matter anymore if we're teaching kids what they're supposed to be learning. If we're teaching kids and prepping them to be the next scientists, the people that are actually going to cure the next big disease, and not in the way COVID or anything, but the people that are going to cure the next big disease, or the people that are going to revolutionize the idea of separating conjoined twins like Ben Carson did, or the people that are going to write the next Hamilton. I don't know. Like, that's not what we're teaching kids anymore. What we're getting held up on is semantics. He, she, it's whatever. Frankly, and pardon my French, I don't give a flying fuck what your pronouns are. I care if you can read a damn book. And I know a lot of other people are like me in that. But the thing is while those teachers are grooming kids in terms of talking about pronouns in Illinois, There's an even weirder groomer coming out of Wisconsin. And I will say, for once, it's not a gay person. They're straight. Pull up this story next. It's out of the New York Post. The fiance of Madison Bergman, a teacher who was busted for making out with a 5th grader, says the wedding is off. No shit. She cheated with a little kid. We're not going to watch this video or anything, just so you know, Cody. We're going to go through this story pretty quick. I've seen this one all over, and I just found it worth talking about because I'll oftentimes discuss on this show about how the gays are coming for your children in the classroom. They always talk about things, but this is not to avoid the fact that what I've talked about multiple times recently is that those who want to sexually abuse children, which is like super sensitive of a topic. So like if I'll put a trigger warning out there, which I don't usually like that liberal crap, but like just because it is very sensitive, I'll say those who are interested in sexually abusing children, those who are inclined to do such horrific evil, will go where children are. And while this is not the worst story I've ever heard, it's worth talking about because it's despicable, gross, and just another thing to look out for. But there's a devastated fiance of a Wisconsin elementary school teacher who was arrested for making out with a 5th grader. And he's called the wedding off, one of his friends told the Post. Madison Bergman and her betrothed, Sam Hickman, were due to tie the knot in July. But the revelation of her sick love affair with one of her 11-year-old students has halted any plans of a flowery ceremony. Cody, if we could try to find a picture, I know there's a picture somewhere in here. Try to put that in the corner. If you just like scroll up and down, try to get the picture of her because I think it's important that people see like this looks like a normal person. A pal of the boy, who was supposed to be the man who was supposed to be marrying this young woman, has said that it's been indefinitely postponed, the wedding. I know there's a picture of them together. Cody, scroll down. Don't do the video. Scroll down. Let's get a picture of that. Yeah, do that. If you could pull that full screen, if you click on it, it might go full screen for you. I don't know. That one. But their wedding has been indefinitely postponed. And I think it's important to talk about it because I feel terrible for this guy. The longtime couple's wedding page on the popular marriage website, The Knot, has been taken down. The friends said the decision to kill the wedding, which was scheduled for July 27th, was a mutual decision. So this is supposed to be like a wedding that's supposed to happen in 2 months. And the friends said that they both decided together that they should call off this wedding. Really? Okay. How'd you come to that decision? I don't know. But he said... So the friend that's talking to the Post, like the way that this story is written is just really funny to me. The friend is talking to the Post and he says, it's effed up that she cheated with a little kid. No crap. That's fine. Cody said it won't go full screen. It's fine. We keep watching here a little bit. But he said it's effed up that she cheated with a little kid. He's really, really hurt. Not talking too much about it. It's really effed up. You can scroll down. There's some more pictures of this couple. They're a really normal looking couple. And that's the thing that I think is interesting about this. You can see like them. That's like homecoming or something. But the 24-year-old teacher was busted after the victim's parents found texts. So the victim, being the 5th grader, found texts between the pair, according to the charging documents. The boy's father stormed into Rivercrest Elementary School with printouts of the conversations prompting an investigation. The text revealed intimate messages from the teacher detailing their encounters inside the classroom during lunch or after school, including texts telling the boy how much she enjoyed him touching her and making out. Again, this is a 5th grader to his teacher. And these are normal looking people. This is why it's important to say. The reason why I bring this story up is because the person that could be grooming and sexually assaulting our most vulnerable are not always the pink-haired, gender androgynous leftists that get mad when you accidentally say she instead of Z. No, there's normal people that are absolutely sick and they lurk in the shadows as if it's in some way like as if she I don't know how this came about. Like, it's got to be some level of a demonic possession. She will get jail time. I see Laura in my comments. She needs jail time. She will likely get jail time. But there are two things that I think are really important to point out with this. The first is that it could literally be anybody. It could literally be anybody that preys upon our most vulnerable. The second thing is how awful for this young man. Look, many people talk about how marriage nowadays is very much slanted towards women, that there's no benefit of it towards men. And to some extent, unless you're religious, and you have a very, very good partner, I could see that perspective. I could see that. If you're not religious, what's the point of getting married? You're as a young man, if you're not religious, then you could, and you don't have a solid foundation with your partner, then you could be absolutely preyed upon. This is just another example as to how scary it can be to take that step. Because while maybe your partner is not necessarily a child sexual predator, maybe you never know who they really are. You never truly know. I mean, I could not imagine being this young man, and I feel for him. And I can tell you the prayers that I'm sending to him are enormous, because I feel awful for this young guy. I mean, he thinks that he's about to have the happiest day of his life in like 2 months and marry this person that he absolutely loves, and then finds out that she's been making out with a 5th grader. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, it's To Catch a Predator, man. Like, it's insane. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. But you never know who could be grooming your children. You never do. Don't forget, guys, to like this video, subscribe to the channel, comment what you think, share it with your friends. And if you're just tuning in, I'm your host, Kev Ferris. We could take that off now, Cody. Let's get the next stories up ready. We're going to talk about some more groomers and their big stories that have been coming out in the last few days. But like I said, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, comment what you think, share it with your friends. I'm firing on all cylinders today, everybody. I am firing in all cylinders, doing everything I possibly can. Telling my kids this is, are you smarter than a 5th grader? You better not be, because that is terrible. But funny. And don't forget, guys, like I said, comment. I'm going to get to those. I see some of my great friends on my YouTube channel here. Laura, thank you for joining, Laura. Common Sense, great. Demon Goral, who isn't real, has been here like the whole time, and I appreciate it. We're going to, you can go back, everybody. If you miss even a part of this show, don't forget on my YouTube channel, Speechless with Kev, you can see everything I've been talking about today. And I've been going quick. So make sure you go check out Speechless with Kev. You just Google it. It'll be the first thing that comes up, and you'll be able to see my bright and shining face that everybody tells me was made for radio, except for my mom. She absolutely loves it. And so you can go and check out Speechless with Kev on YouTube. Like, subscribe, share, comment, check out all of this video so you can catch all the stories. But we're going to get into this next one right here. Speaking of people that groom other people, the Boy Scouts, which I can make that joke. And you guys will know why in a moment. But let's just pull up, just click on the picture that they got there, Cody. And we'll keep that up there. The Boy Scouts announced earlier this week that the Boy Scouts of America will rebrand to just Scouting America, reflecting the organization's ongoing commitment to welcoming every youth and family in America to the experience and benefits of scouting. Out of Irving, Texas, the Boy Scouts of America today announced that it will rebrand, and this isn't today, this is May 7th, which was 2 days ago, that it will rebrand to reflect the organization's ongoing commitment to welcome every youth and family in America to experience the benefits of scouting. The change will go into effect on February 8th of 2025, which is the organization's 115th anniversary. The announcement also comes as the organization celebrates its 5th anniversary of welcoming girls into Cub Scouting and Scouts BSA programs. Scouting in America currently serves more than 176,000 girls and young women across all programs, including over 6,000 who have earned the rank of Eagle Scout. Okay, so there's a lot more to this, and they keep talking about how it's all about benefiting the youth, and it's about being inclusive, and it says like our goal is to give them a fantastic experiences in outdoors and elsewhere, blah 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 blah. So this one actually hits really close to home. Don't do that Girl Scouts one yet, Cody. Bring back Scouting America if you can, please. I know that I don't want to talk about. Yeah, I want to do this. Grooming America. That's actually a good place to put it. Grooming America. This one hits close to home to me. For anybody who doesn't know out there, I talk often about some of my accolades on this show. I'm a conservative activist. I founded Turning Point USA. I have a radio show, blah, blah, blah. One of the things that I'm actually really proud of, but I haven't been able to talk about in recent years because of the changes, is that I'm an Eagle Scout. I am an Eagle Scout. It's okay, Cody. Cody just apologized for bringing somebody else. Producer Cody, everybody, give him a round of applause from home. He's doing a great job, and I appreciate him. But no, I am an Eagle Scout. So I was a part of Boy Scouts for, I started when I was in 1st grade, and I got my Eagle Scout when I was like 17, 16. And I loved it. Man, I loved it. I know there's that stigma with Boy Scouts of like, oh man, like you're an antisocial nerd. No, like I did that. I was part of sports and everything. Like I'm an Eagle Scout, and I'm very proud of it. I did it. I got my Eagle Scout before they let girls in. If anybody, a lot of people know that to get your Eagle Scout, you have to get all these different merit badges. You have to learn all these different things. You have to go on a certain amount of campouts. You have to do a lot of different stuff. But the big thing that you have to do is you have to organize a service project. And like the stereotype is that a lot of people like build a bench for your church or something like that. My service project was I ran a school supply drive for a home and school that was for mentally disabled individuals. So I ran a school supply drive for them in Naperville, Illinois, with Troop 507 in the Three Fires Council and the Potawatomi District, which a lot of you guys don't know what that means, but it just shows you I really was involved. I love the Boy Scouts, man. Like it did a lot of great things for my life. When I had gotten my Eagle Scout, I envisioned a world in which I would grow up and I would have my children be Boy Scouts and become Eagle Scouts. And like that dream, that thing that I've been thinking about for a lot of my life is dashed. It's not going to happen because they're enabling and leaning into this woke crap because they're claiming that it's all about, I was planning on being like a scout leader and everything too for my sons, my future sons that I plan to have. And I'm not going to be able to do that because it's all about diversity, equity, and inclusion and all this crap. I take this really personally. The Boy Scouts are changing to Scouting America, taking the boy out of Scouts. At this point, take the America out if you want to be that inclusive and just call yourselves of. Because that's essentially what you're doing. If you want to be inclusive, let everybody. What are you going to start making adult scouts of the world? No. I will say, I don't think that all of this is just about being woke. I think that one thing I know is that the Boy Scouts do have numerous payouts in terms of sexual abuse scandals that they are that they've even filed for bankruptcy several years ago for. And not only that, their enrollment was down because of the stigma that being in Scouts was weird. And so when you have that, yeah, you're losing money and you got to start letting in as many people as possible. They let the gays in, they let the girls in, and now they're letting pretty much anybody in. It's all about inclusivity. We're going to take the boy out of Boy Scouts. But it's not even about inclusivity. I think a lot more of it is actually about money. But the message that they're sending, even if they came out and said, we can't do this anymore, I think it would be more noble of them to say, we will not be able to do Scouts anymore if we don't get enough boys involved. I'd rather them say we're shuttering our doors, we're shutting it down, it's all gone, than to come out and say we're going to let everybody in because money's tight. I would have so much more respect for that. But instead they do this. But they're not the only ones that are going absolutely woke. So is the Girl Scouts. So if you want your kids to be involved in scouting, you're SOL, because we could take a look at this now. The Girl Scouts. Pull up that the picture that's listed there too, specifically, please. Because the Girl Scouts come out and they say that they're all about the LGBTQ agenda. So yeah, you're like fourth grade daughter that's trying to go and sell cookies. Well, she's got to be all about the gays now too, apparently. So according to their camp culture code, for their Eastern Massachusetts camp, at Girl Scout camp, our staff is committed to actively building a sense of inclusion for all of our community members. We ask all staff, volunteers, parents, caregivers, and youth to commit working towards LGBTQIA plus allyship, anti-racism, and anti-oppression. The Girl Scouts movement strives to be a safe place to stand against hate and discusses issues that divide our nation. If you are someone who is, this is the important part, everybody. If you are someone who is not open to participation in anti-racism and alphabet mafia allyship, I don't say that, but I paraphrased, so I don't have to like basically sing the alphabet to you guys. If you're not interested in anti-racism and alphabet allyship work, your camp program or our camp programs are not a good fit for you and your child. So here's what they're saying. In the name of inclusion, if you don't support the gay agenda and the anti-racism lies, then you're not included. So in the name of inclusion, we're not going to include you. Basically, in the name of inclusion, if you're a Christian, we're not going to include you. In the name of inclusion, if you have any moral compass and a sense of truth, we're not going to include you. This is the same kind of crap as when I saw all over neighborhoods in Illinois, and you guys probably saw statements like this, where people say, hate has no home here. And usually those tend to be some of the most hateful people you ever meet. This is the same thing. In the name of inclusion, we're not going to include you. It's all about DEI to these people. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. I put quotes around all of those because it doesn't actually, when they say diversity, equity, and inclusion, it really means like, and I'm going to come up with these off the top of my head, so don't actually judge me too hard for them, but like dumbness, lack of education, and the LO is silent, and idiocy for the I. Tell me your best DEI acronym and put it in the comments, because I'm sure you could come up with something better than I could. But the point being is that this is what's happening in scouting. You can't have a young girl go to a Girl Scout camp and learn maybe some outdoorsy things, be surrounded by other young women, and just like be a young girl just as much as you can't have a young boy who goes to a Boy Scout camp and gets to roughhouse, learn how to use a pocket knife. Like, you want to know things I learned about in Boy Scouts? What I learned in Boy Scouts is I came from suburban Illinois. Guns, not a big thing here. I'll admit. I love learning about guns, and I love our Second Amendment. But growing up, it wasn't a big thing where I grew up. Because of Boy Scouts, I got to learn how to rifle shoot, how to clean a rifle, take one apart, put it back together. I got to learn how to shoot skeet with shotguns. I got to learn how to shoot archery. Wasn't very good at it, but I learned, I did it. And I got to be around a lot of other young guys, some of which are still my friends today. And so it's really, really sad to me to see an institution such as the Boy Scouts that actually has deep roots further back than just being an American. It actually originated, if you ever see, there's a thing called the Fleur de Lis. The Boy Scout logo is a fleur-de-lis. It's a French logo. I know way too much about Boy Scout history, but it was actually started by a Frenchman. And it was started as a way to teach young men how to be young men. And that's where Boy Scouts come from. It's French American. It's absolutely, it's so sad to me. And I'll do even more content about the Boy Scouts. I'll probably talk with Breakaway USA about it, because it's so sad to me that we are losing scouting. We're losing, and even, I don't know if you guys even knew this. I got offered, if you become an Eagle Scout, you can go into our National Guard already a rank up, which includes a salary increase. It makes it so that you can increase your rank even faster. You could, like, scouting is not just this thing for social outcasts. It can be a place where young men find themselves and they learn how to be young men. That's very important. But it can also be a way to increase who you are and be better for yourself. So I don't have all the time in the world that I would like to talk about the Boy Scout things. But if you want to make sure that you never miss a minute of me ranting about that, talking about things, don't forget to like this video wherever you are, subscribe to the channel, comment what you think. Please comment. I'm going to get to some more comments as we go through some more of these things. I'm going to do some TikTok reactions here soon. But share this with your friends, all that fun stuff. Let's see. I'm going to get to some comments before I do those, Cody. So if you want to make sure that you have all those up, then we'll be ready for what's coming up next. I'm also actually going to, real quick, as I look through some of these comments and get a quick sip of a drink here, I'm going to shout out our sponsor one more time, Freedom 2.0. Take a look and listen to this amazing ad. Okay, so yes, Freedom 2.0, of course. I've talked about them a lot. Use code USA at checkout at freedom20.com for 15% off. And also, if they ever give you a chance to say Kevin sent you, I'd really appreciate it. I love each and every one of you, and I love Freedom 2.0 because they don't use fluoride in the water, so it won't make you gay or turn the frogs gay. So there's that. I want to talk about some of these comments, then we're going to get to some TikTok reaction videos. I loved this one. Comment of the night so far. This is the new DEI. This is what DEI stands for now, is Dickhead Initiation Event. That's the winner to me right now. Biden's interviewing CNN. Stay tuned, everybody. Sunday. That'll be one of my stories I cover. Biden's interviewing on CNN. I will talk about that Sunday. So make sure wherever you guys are watching from, you subscribe, you like, all that fun stuff. I nailed it. I appreciate it. Common Sense. You're awesome. Thank you. And like I said earlier, you can go check out some other things. Thank you for all the comments. Keep those comments coming, especially during this next stuff. We're going to do some TikTok reaction videos here on Speechless. All right, let's number one here. I haven't watched all these. I've watched like some just so I can get and I saw this one. I've talked about this individual before. Let's take a look and listen to this dumbass.
I swear, we're about to get banned from Disney. Last summer, I got my cake pops removed, and the plan up until recently was to get my marshmallow wand reconfigured into a marshmallow tunnel. Unfortunately, a few weeks ago, I noticed some hair regrowth on my marshmallow wand. That's bad because the outside of the wand is what becomes the inside of the tunnel. So you don't want hair growing there, or else it's very uncomfortable. So I talked to my surgeon, and he said that it would be best to postpone the procedure until after hair removal is complete. This is obviously disappointing because I was really excited to have a marshmallow tunnel sooner. That being said, it is still happening. We're just not sure when it's happening. Hair removal is a fickle thing, and it's really hard to predict when it will finish. But my hair removal technician thinks it will be before the end of the year. So, fingers crossed. Want some?
Gross.
My mom's here, by the way. The marshmallow tunnel.
That's so what? So he just went on this. So this trans individual, so biological man who is absolutely delusional, just goes on this tirade about how he's doing these surgeries and everything, uses pastries at Disney World, a place meant for children, and does all these things about the surgeries and talks about how he's going to invert his dingling and how he's got to get hair removed. It's absolutely disgusting. And he does it all. And then all of a sudden he's like, oh, and my mom's here too. So not only was he doing it in front of like in an area of children, he also did it right in front of his mom. Weird, disgusting, and gross. And that person will forever be one of the most disgusting people I've ever seen and should be kicked out of Disney World immediately. Also, honestly, any adult who goes alone to Disney World, or like just you and your mom and you're like a full grown adult, should maybe be kicked out too. Just saying. But let's get to the next one here. Okay.
As a mother skips 2 meals a day to afford baby formula, let them eat cake. As a family gets evicted because their rent doubled overnight, let them eat cake.
The hell?
As a woman pees in her backyard to offset the rising cost of her water bill, let them eat cake. As 20 million children receive free and reduced lunch each day, let them eat cake. As Americans spend their evenings by candlelight because they can't afford electricity, let them eat cake. As we sharpen our blades and build your guillotines, let them eat cake. As your heads roll and you blink at us frantically in horror, we will eat cake. As a mother,
You know, I can't see her full body, but I think she's probably eating too much cake as is. It's about it. Can you pull that, Cody? Bring that on screen and let's. I want to just see what the hell that was actually supposed to be. Was it supposed to be like a poem? I don't get it. Bring that one back on screen. I know you're probably already getting to the next one, but I want to bring that back on screen and I want to talk. I want to see what that actually was supposed to be. Like, is there a. Go to the comments of it. What do the comments say? As I struggle to pay my bills because my job laid us all off with no notice, let them eat cake. And we can't even afford the cake. That's a good one. I like that one. I have not gone grocery shopping in months. I relied on food banks to feed my siblings. Let them eat cake. However, you can afford an iPhone to comment on TikTok, apparently. Only meal I eat is dinner so my kids can have food, diapers, wipes. Well, then maybe don't vote for Joe Biden. Maybe don't vote for Joe Biden. Oh, the creator even, as we pay for taxes on items needed to live with the money they taxed already. But that's, it's, all right. We're going to go to the next one. I'll wrap this one up by just saying that was a terrible poem. It didn't even rhyme. And I'm absolutely fascinated by anything that comes in across like that. I do want to say though, before we play this next one, I will shout out the fact that everybody, if you want to send in a TikTok or anything for me to react to, send it to speechlesskp@gmail.com. I check it daily. And so if you have any TikToks, some of these TikToks are actually from some viewers who like to watch me react to things. And so I hope you guys like those and always send me things. I have some other reaction videos from some other people that they want me to react to some longer content. I have to do full videos for those, which I'm going to pre-record. And I will do those, but just email me whatever you want me to talk about, speechlesskp@gmail.com. I'd appreciate it. Okay. Producer Cody, let's do this.
Hi, my name's Queenie and my pronouns are they, them. When I post about my gender identity and my sexuality, when I say that I don't want any labels, that is not an invitation for you to speculate on who I am or what I am. It's not a guessing game for you to play over whether I'm a girl or a boy, about what's in my pants, or if I'm pan or bi or trixic or homoflexible or gray romantic or anything else. You don't need to fully understand the nuances of gender identity or sexuality to know that each person knows who they are better than you ever will.
Wait. Go back. Don't take that off screen. Go back to like 15 seconds and play after that. She listed some crap there and I did not understand what the hell she was saying.
Whether I'm a girl or a boy, about what's in my pants, or if I'm pan or bi or trixic or homoflexible or gray romantic or anything else. You don't need to fully understand the nuances of gender identity or sexuality to know that each person knows who they are better than you ever will.
What the hell is that? Keep that on screen real quick, Cody, because I'm gonna pull up a tab that I'm gonna share on my screen. Okay, you can take that off now. And we're gonna do this one. And we're gonna go homo flexible. Ooh, I gotta be careful. I'm gonna take this off screen real quick, guys, just because in the event that it brings up something not suitable for work, I want to be able to to make sure I don't get banned anywhere. Okay, we got WebMD up here. I want to know what the hell WebMD has to say about this. You can get the next TikTok ready, Cody. I'm just gonna do a little bit of research here on what the heck she was talking about. What does homoflexible or heteroflexible mean? Homoflexible people primarily identify as homosexual, but are sometimes attracted people to the opposite sex. Meanwhile, heteroflexible people primarily identify as heterosexual or straight. So this is bisexual with extra steps. This is some bull crap right here. This is I don't have anything I could throw right now. I mean, like I could pick up my chair. I don't really feel like I could stand up. But like, what the heck is this? This is bisexual. Why does she have to go into like this is the woke Olympics right here. She's trying to win the gold medal for most woke by just saying, why just say bisexual next time? It's taking me long enough to figure out what the hell that actually means. This is I'm homoflexible. It doesn't matter. You don't have to try to guess what's in my pants. I don't have to. You're obviously a biological woman. You're not hiding it very well. But along with that, I don't really care. In fact, I want to think so little about what's in your pants that I'm going to move on now to the next TikTok. Bring up the next one. Oh my God, bring back the back. No, go back to the last one. I don't like this one, Cody. This one's a fat, ugly broad. Okay, I'm calm. We can play it.
Straight people are getting too comfortable. I said what I said. Some things are not yours to talk about, joke about, or say. And you should go back to being deathly afraid of offending people.
I was never deathly afraid of offending people. I want to play that whole thing once again. Play it.
Straight people are getting too comfortable.
I'm too comfortable.
I said what I said. Some things are not yours to talk about, joke about, or say.
Not allowed to talk about things.
And you should go back to being deathly afraid of offending people.
Should be deathly afraid. I was never deathly afraid of offending people. The only reason I'd ever be afraid of offending you is because maybe you'd sit on me and then I'd die of suffocation. Other than that, the other two things, straight people are getting too comfortable. I think you've gotten too comfortable in whatever chair you haven't gotten out of for a long time because only a sedentary lifestyle would allow you to get that obese and so obese that I don't even need to see your body. I can just look at your face and know that you're massive. And I wouldn't say these kinds of things. I'm only saying these things because you're going to come at me and be like, straight people are getting too comfortable. Okay, if you're allowed to say that, then I'm allowed to make fun of your weight and inability to look even mildly attractive. And there's more than that too. I mean, just the entire thing. I'm getting too comfortable. Isn't the whole thing with the leftists? Let's talk about that. Ignore all because I'll even admit I just did a crap ton of ad hominem attacks on her. But let's actually take the actual argument into consideration for a moment here. Straight people are getting too comfortable. I thought the whole thing with the left is that you need a safe space to avoid being offended. I thought the whole thing with the left is it's all about your comfort, that it's all about you. And if I'm not comfortable, then there's a problem, that it's all about caring about that kind of crap, that it's so I'm getting too comfortable. I thought your whole thing was that I should never actually have to feel any discomfort, that no one should ever have to actually feel discomfort. But alas, I must have been wrong because I'm just the evil straight white male. Oh, and I'm also a Christian. And I'm also a real guy and not a woman pretending to be a guy. So I'm just an evil oppressor and my comfort doesn't mean anything to them. But let's go to, I don't know if this might be the last one, but let's take a look and listen to this one.
Our children are trans. They're all part of the LGBT. 4 out of 4? Yeah. Oh, Finn. Are trans. They're part of the LGBTQ community.
The chance you have a trans kid is 1 in 3,000. So
Ooh,
the
Jordan.
joint probability that you have a trans kid and a pansexual kid is 1 in 9 million. The odds that you're a pathological narcissist sacrificing your own children to the glorification of your compassion is 8,999,999 to 1.
3 out of my 4.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much. I mean, like, I see the very beginning of this, and Jordan is absolutely right at the end of that. Jordan Peterson, great guy. But like, you watch the beginning of this, 3 out of my 4 children, and then it finds out 4 out of my 4 kids are trans. No. What you are, not only are you a pathological narcissist, as Jordan Peterson would say, you're also somebody who buys into this, what I usually like to call accessory parenting. Accessory parenting is this entire idea that you see kids not as a life form that you want to carry on a legacy and that you want to impart wisdom on. No, you see your children as an accessory. And it's not just people that do this with the gays. Like, a lot of people do it with the LGBTQ stuff, and it's like, oh, they want to be able to go over to their friends and be like, well, I'm allowed to say whatever I want on this issue because my kid's gay, my kid's trans, my kid's oppressed, blah 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 blah. You play the oppression Olympics with your kids because you're treating them as if like you're Paris Hilton and your kid is like the puppy that's being held in your purse. No, your kid is not an accessory. But they're not the only ones that do it. I mean, people do it with kids when they go to college too. Oh, my kid's going to Yale. My kid's going to Harvard. My kid's going. No, nobody gives a shit. You're not as important as you think you are. And you're definitely not as important as you think you are if you think that the reason that you're important is because you are in some way a parent of an oppressed person. And I know my screen just froze. And this is why I want to make sure that I will be right back as soon as possible, because I am on a rant here and I'm not going to forget it. And I hope you guys can still hear me, but give me literally like 30 seconds. Cody, play a commercial.
Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. What are you talking about? Here, have some freedom to up. Now, the Constitution is awesome. That's what it is.
How great is that? Cody plays commercial. I'm back. It's all working again. And that's almost the end of the show. But that is what I'm saying, is that it is an accessory. It's an accessory. That's how these parents are treating their children. And so when you have somebody that comes out and says, I have 3-4 kids that are trans. No. You've entertained a delusion for way too long. And you're going to continue to, because you want to win the oppression Olympics. You want to wear the gold medal and say, I've had it harder than you because I've permanently destroyed my children's lives. And to be fair, you're only permanently destroying them if you allow them on like hormone blockers or to chop off genitalia, anything like that. If you're just allowing them to cross-dress, then you've only briefly provided them with a significant amount of trauma that they can work through with a decent amount of prayer and therapy. But that's okay. Common sense says I wasn't frozen. On my screen I was, which means I was going to become frozen soon. But that's good to hear. Everybody, please let me know what you guys think about all this stuff in the comments. Cody, was that my last TikTok? Do I have any more TikToks? No, I don't have any more TikToks. He's shaking his head no at me. That's perfectly fine. That's okay. We'll have more TikToks on Sunday. And to make sure you guys don't miss a minute of any of that, go find me. You said yes. I don't know what that yes was for. He's going to type it out now, and I'm going to see what it is. It'll produce it. No, there aren't any. Okay, he's confirming my theory that there were no more TikToks, which is perfectly fine because it's been a beautiful Thursday, and I've loved talking with each and every one of you. And I will say to end out the show, while I do want to make sure that each and every one of you like, subscribe, comment, share, all that fun stuff, no matter where you're watching from. Check out Speechless with Kev, especially on YouTube. Go subscribe on YouTube, wherever you're watching from. I want to say how blessed I feel to be with you guys on this Thursday, May 9th, right now. I can tell you as I go to bed tonight, I will be praying for each and every one of you in some way. Anybody who's viewed this, whether you agreed with me, whether you disagreed with me, you deserve a prayer. And I'd hope kindly that each and every one of you pray a general prayer for me as well. I do believe it works. I do believe in God, which many of my generation don't. And so thank you if you would consider doing that. But until next time, everybody, which will be, if not earlier, this Sunday at the latest, please don't miss it this Sunday around 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. Adjust how you guys will. I appreciate each and every one of you. God bless you. God bless America. And until next time, you've been watching Speechless.